You already know what time it is. It is the end of the month, and we here with it, man. Thank y'all so much for coming through. I really do appreciate y'all. It's your boy, CapnTrippz. What's happening with you? It's Wednesday evening, April 30th to be exact, 2025. My name is CapnTrippz, and you are tuned into our news roundup for April 2025. So, what that means is we're going to be discussing some of the big news stories that occurred this past month, and we're just going to try to talk about them as sensibly as we possibly can. It's hard enough trying to make sense of this stuff by yourself, so I just wanted to create some kind of space where we could do that all together without too much of an issue. Hope everybody is doing well, man. Thank y'all so much for coming through. Once again, for those that don't know who I am, my name is CapnTrippz. I am a variety content creator here on Twitch as well as on YouTube. We create content around gaming. Number one category is usually some kind of single player story mode game. We also read books on stream. We just finished up our book club on Sunday. We play management sims sometimes. We only get sweaty a little bit, but we do get sweaty a little bit. And we talk the news every month. So that's what we got going on here. I hope everybody else as well. Let me turn this damn thing, man. Because that glare from the light be shining, and I don't really like that. Tonight we're talking news. It's April 2025, or the end of April 2025. So we're going to be discussing some of the hot news items of April. Now, I've compiled a list of stories, and we're going to start breaking them down and really getting into the nitty gritty and seeing what, not only what's happening, but what the people are saying from it. All right. So I appreciate y'all tuning in, whether you are watching on Twitch live or over on YouTube. Make sure you hit that follow button or subscribe, and make sure you're joining this community. We're a growing community and would love to have you being as part of it, as long as you got something to say. All right. So with that being said, I feel like we should probably start. I don't know. It's 7:30. We've gotten familiar with each other and how the week's gone. So I think it's about that time. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. I just have to say that. Lots of stories this month, and I don't know if everything is gonna be everything. A lot of shit we're gonna have to get through. One other thing I have to ask of y'all, whether you follow me on Twitch or Facebook or Twitter, Facebook, or Blue Sky, if you could retweet the tweet or the kite that is up now telling people that we're live, just so more people know we are here. Nits, what's happening? April has been a whole year. I was going through the list of stories that we have for tonight, and it was a lot. We got stories about the FDA, the USDA, the DOJ, OPP. A lot happened in April, so we're gonna start getting into it. Of course, we're gonna be talking about y'all boy. He ain't my boy, but he's definitely y'all boy. That's how that works. I don't know him. Y'all do. Y'all was the one that voted that man in there. So tap in. Let's get started. April 2025. What we got? All right, let's start off in Europe. Shout out to the European homies. Let me see if this thing works, because I definitely I think I did it right. Yeah, there go chat. It was there just a minute ago, so I feel like if y'all keep using messages, it'll pop up. But I wanted chat to also be a part of this conversation, because I feel like that's one thing I was always missing when I went to go edit the videos or rewatch any of the old news videos, something like that. Yeah, I don't know what the people are saying. So this is what we do live here on Twitch. If y'all are ever interested in coming on Twitch, you can find me as CapnTrippz. Well, I can't tell you to come on Twitch, because that'd be weird. First story. Power begins to return after a huge outage hits Spain and Portugal. So this was a couple days ago that they were talking about this. I knew the power was out, but I'm like, it can't be that bad, right? Apparently it was. It was newsworthy. Power started returning to parts of the Iberian Peninsula late on Monday after a huge outage brought most of Spain and Portugal to a standstill. 2 whole countries is insane, Nemo. I don't understand that. Grounding planes, halting public transport, and forcing hospitals to suspend routine operations. Whoa. Spain's Interior Ministry declared a national emergency, deploying 30,000 police across the country to keep order as governments from the two countries convene emergency cabinet meetings. Outages on such a scale are extremely rare in Europe. So is that not problematic? Also, what I like to try to do when we talk about the news is think about other things I've heard that were going on. A couple months ago, wasn't it a news story about somebody cutting data wires along the seaboard? Yeah, bro, it was November. Germany and Finland investigate a severed data cable through the Baltic Sea. Who is doing such things, dog? What are we talking about? This was 6 months ago, about almost. These usually don't happen unannounced. That's what I'm saying. I remember there being a story about this happening because they were like, no one knows how someone could go down under the sea 750 miles from the capital of Helsinki, right? The Finnish, hold on, let's just read the story. Germany and Finland expressed deep concern over the discovery Monday of a severed undersea data cable between the countries through the Baltic Sea, saying it raised suspicions of sabotage and that an investigation was underway. The foreign ministries of the two countries said in a joint statement that the damage comes at a time our European security is not only under threat from Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine, but also from hybrid warfare by malicious actors. This was 6 months ago. I want to hear, like, it doesn't tell you where it was, obviously. I feel like they don't want you to know. But I want to know how far underwater you had to fucking go on the seaboard to be like, yeah, we're going to cut this cable. Sabotage, they said. Okay. The cause was unclear, with Portugal suggesting the issue originated in Spain and Spain pointing the finger at a breakup in its connection to France. No one knows how it happened, but it happened and it affected over 300,000 people? Oh, 30,000. No, 30,000 police. How many people does that affect, though? Hold on. Portuguese Prime Minister Luis Montenegro said there was no indication a cyber attack had caused the blackout, which began around 10:33 GMT. Sanchez said the country has suffered a loss of 15 gigawatts of electricity generation in 5 seconds. God damn. Equivalent to 60% of national demand. In 5 seconds? Technicians were working to figure out why the sudden drop occurred. It's something that never happened before. So this is the forecast demand of what was supposed to happen at the times. So this happened before 6 p.m. The demand was kind of low. The demand was 25,000 megawatts, and then they pumped out 13. They were able to pump that out at 3. Real consumption. Then, boom, at 3 o'clock, it shit dropped, and then at 3 o'clock, nothing. That's wild as fuck. Well, let me go get the solar generator. Nessa, you know what I'm saying? Like, really, we really need to actually really start doing shit like that. We really do. That's so fucking funny to me, man. Hold on, let me move this a little bit. I think I gotta try to. There we go. I gotta see the names. If they down there, we gotta see the names. Like that gas pipe everyone knew was done by an actual state. You never know, man. There could be 1,001 causes. It's premature to assess the cause. So something could have happened, or somebody could have made something happen. I can't imagine. 61% of electricity had been restored in Spain, in the Basque Country and Barcelona areas in the early afternoon. "35,000 train passengers have been rescued from trains, while 11 trains still remain stranded in remote areas." Ooh, shit. And that's on Monday. But still. About 43% of Spain's energy comes from wind and solar power. Now, peep that. With nuclear accounting for a further 20% and fossil fuels 23%. So imagine some shit happen here, because we definitely ain't got too much renewable down here, man. If I was an underground metro at that point, I'd lose my shit. Yeah, because you stuck, bruh. And like, there's nothing that could fucking save you. What are you supposed to do? All right, so let's talk about your favorite person. Because, like, I feel like we can go blow past this shit and then really get into some things that we can discuss. All right. So at the beginning of the month, this motherfucker put these tariffs out. Now, it's not new that he's, like, deciding one way or another that some shit is going to happen. But this affects not only us, but like global trade. Because I don't know if y'all know, we're the world's biggest consumers. Flat out. Everybody in the world sell their shit to us, and we sell our debt to them. We're the world's biggest consumers. And so this motherfucker slapped some tariffs on some shit that's coming into the country. Somebody's like, hey, you don't need to do that. We gonna slap tariffs on you too, nigga. So at the beginning of the month, he put these tariffs out. Let's just go to the story. Donald Trump announces tariffs that can raise the price of almost everything you buy. The plan would add staggering taxes to products coming into the U.S. At an event in the Rose Garden on Wednesday, so this is the second, and so that was like the first? No, it was Tuesday. So that was when. Anyway, Donald Trump unveiled a new set of planned tariffs that are being described as short-sighted. That's the best word you can use to describe them. And having no basis in logic and being compared to Great Depression era politics. Holding a giant poster board blowing in the wind, Trump announced staggering new taxes on products coming into the U.S. from abroad. Among the 60 countries that are listed, tariffs ranged anywhere from 10% to nearly 50%. 34% for China, 46% for Vietnam, 20% from the EU, and 49% from Cambodia. The U.S. is the world's biggest importer. Now, what did I just say? Bringing in trillions of dollars of goods every year. Relatively little is produced in the United States, and the eye-watering taxes will impact supply chains across industries, tech products and gadgets, clothing, food, automobiles, and more. Seeing souring relations between the U.S. and China, some companies have worked to diversify supply chains by moving manufacturing to other countries. Apple, for example, was producing billions of dollars worth of iPhones in India last fall to move away from China. Under Trump's new plan, Indian imports would get slapped with 26% tariffs. Yeah, those Nike countries. That's actually a really good comment. Thank you for reminding me. I had a sis tell me today, like less than an hour ago, that she don't care about the tariffs because they have to pay it, not us. Welcome to the No Child But Left Behind America. Now, I don't know if niggas was planning this way back when they did that shit, or the plan changed after that happened and they realized what was going on. But people just are not there. Right? Schools don't really teach nothing. They definitely don't teach no critical thinking. And so, like, people just lack the understanding to have these conversations. And honestly, that adds a lot to my frustrations of why I don't talk to people about much things, because what's the point? Unless you show me you can handle the depth of the conversation, what's the point of talking about it, right? As soon as I start talking to somebody and they say I should bump it up to 3, you say 3 dumb things and I'm out. I'm at 1. I'll be very honest with you. The second you say some dumb shit to me, I kind of just like, I told you about my FBI agent, and we had that conversation about the president and his policies, like, I want to say in February. We barely had a conversation since then, bro. And I don't mean to be off-putting. I'm actually pretty nice on the average day, but like, I've never liked stupidity. Y'all remember Ernest from the movies in the 90s? Ernest does this or Ernest goes to camp. I fucking hated them movies. I hate idiots. Like, I'm not better than nobody, and I know that. But I just really don't have any energy and time to share with idiots. And so I kind of feel like if you don't understand basic principles, I'm not your fucking teacher. I'm not here to teach nobody but people in my family what the fuck is going on. Can't talk to people about shit. My flabbers were gasted. Like, I'll be honest with you. Ernest P. Worrell. Love Ernest. What up, Buddha? How you doing, my dog? I can't watch slapstick comedy. Mr. Bean is about as far as I'll take it. Mr. Magoo. Now we talking real life shit. Y'all niggas idiots in real life. I can't tolerate that. I'm sorry. It's not gonna be me. It's not gonna be me. All right, let's continue. All right, so that's what's going on. Now, mind you, it's all kind of shit that has happened since then. So China upped their tariff at this point, as of this writing, which is today. China upped their tariff to 125,000. I mean, 125%. What I'm saying 1,000 for. Okay. So this is an article about the list of things that will be exempted from the 125% tariffs. And it's quietly notifying companies about the policy. Honestly, I like how China has played this the entire way through, because I feel like they played it. Number one, it happened and it went straight into their advantage. Number one, they're playing it exactly how you're supposed to play it. China has positioned themselves as the mature person in the room. And who the fuck could say anything else? Anyway, the U.S. has 145% tariffs on Chinese goods, which it has made some exemptions too. China has already gained tariff exemptions on select products, including pharmaceuticals, microchips, aircraft engines, and was asking firms to identify critical goods they need levy-free, Reuters reported on last Friday. However, the existence of a so-called whitelist have not been previously reported. I would like to read more. Come on, give me some more. So they're being asked to go about it privately. That's what is being said in this article here. The list of exempted products also appears to be growing. China has waived tariffs on ethane imports from the U.S. Major ethane processors have already sought tariff waivers from Beijing because the U.S. is the only supplier of ethane. Trump said on Tuesday he thought a trade deal with China was on the horizon, but it's going to be a fair deal. China swears up and down that they have not had any conversation with this nigga about a trade deal. So he's lying to us or they're lying. Once again, there's a specific way you need to play this in order for somebody to lose all credibility on the world stage. And I feel like everything is happening according to plan. So that's happening. But when we get back to the day of looking at the tariff, they were like, something's wrong with that tariff math, right? So this is all what happened. Slapped a 10% baseline tariff on all imports into the U.S., plus absurdly high rates on specific countries, supposedly based on tariffs charged to the U.S., which didn't match up to other non-cardboard based estimates. Stock markets plummeted, and consumers are facing down sharp price hikes on potentially almost everything. They were wondering where the numbers came from. Apparently an oversimplified calculation that several major AI bots happen to recommend. I got something to say about AI, but we'll continue. Economist James Surowiecki quickly reverse engineered a possible explanation for the tariff pricing. He found that you could recreate each of the White House's numbers by simply taking a given country's trade deficit with the U.S. and dividing it with their total exports to the U.S. half that number and you get a ready-to-use discounted reciprocal tariff. The White House objected to this claim and published the formula that it says was used. Yeah, I ain't happy for you. I ain't reading all that. But as Politico points out, the formula looks like a dressed up version of Sirowiecki's. It's the same thing. They just dressed it up and made it look good. X users have realized that if you ask ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Claude, or Grok for an easy way to solve trade deficits and put the U.S. in an even playing field, they will give you a version of this deficit divided by exports formula with remarkable consistency. We're feeding the algorithm a bunch of bullshit, and people are saying, oh, the AI said it, so it must be smart. They're going to kill us, bro. They're trying to kill us. I'm skimming through here because I want to get to some of the most damning parts. I can't even spell tariff. An uninhabited island, a military base, and a desolate former whaling station. Trump's tariffs include unlikely targets. Do you see how shady that is? They're training these AIs on Reddit. Have y'all ever seen how dumb Reddit comments are? 1000%. Reddit is actually one of my least favorite places to go because niggas just be hating for no reason, bro. I don't know what the fuck I was looking at earlier, bruh. It was like a draft story. And the person was mad at a player for getting drafted and waiting for his teammate to get drafted. Do you know how much of a hater you gotta be to be mad at somebody being glad for somebody else's success? You shouldn't support that motherfucker. Why? Because I said so. I don't get it. The sweeping tariffs announced by U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday target not only economic superpowers, but also financial minnows. In fact, the White House list notes some territories with no economy and no people at all. That is the exact case of the Heard Island and McDonald Islands, an Australian external territory in the southern Indian Ocean, which was hit with a 10% tariff. The CIA World Factbook describes the uninhabited islands listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site as 80% ice-covered and bleak in the case of the Heard Island, and the McDonald Islands as small and rocky. Economic activity there essentially ended in 1877 when the trade in elephant seal oil was ended. And the human population of sealers left the remote islands. Niggas been over a century? This y'all boy, man. I don't know what y'all got going on. This y'all boy. How we doing, Tommy? What's good with you, man? Then it gets to other decisions that are being made. We ain't even touched the end of the tariff topic because we ain't seen the end of the tariff topic. Shit. I forgot about this. You want to know what the end of the supply of the tariff topic is? Surviving the next shock. How to fortify your supply chain now. Trump's tariffs will increase already skyrocketing coffee prices, and businesses are scrambling to rethink their supply chains. This is talking about coffee. It's 2 articles on Forbes. For private equity investors, supply chain disruptions aren't a hypothetical risk now. They're already here. The impact of U.S. tariffs has begun to ripple through critical segments of the economy. Arrivals at West Coast ports are way down, and prices of key material inputs are rising, similar to what happened in 2021 and 2022. From electronics to construction materials to consumer goods, PE portfolio companies that had just only regained equilibrium after the chaos of COVID-19 are now facing deja vu. The difference this time, these disruptions not, oh yeah, it's that nigga fault. So they're trying to tell people how to, like, businesses, how to go ahead and, like, circumvent what's happening. But it's happening. It's happening. So because companies wanted efficiency in their supply chain, they went and chased who got the lowest labor. So all your shit gets made around the world, and then they just pay to ship it back this way. Now, you can't afford to. What do you do? What do you do? So the next few weeks are going to be real interesting. Meanwhile, he's still blaming Biden. Nah, bro, it's been 100 days now. You on the job. I just passed my 90 days. You got your 100 days and shit is more fucked up than it ever been before. But let's continue rolling. Then he doing shit like this. The U.S. FDA suspends food safety quality checks after staff cuts. The FDA is suspending a quality control program for its food testing laboratories as a result of staff cuts at the Department of Human and Health Services. That's your boy RFK. That's your boy RFK. The proficiency testing program of the FDA's Food Emergency Response Network is designed to ensure consistency and accuracy across the agency's network of about 170 labs that test food for pathogens and contaminants to prevent foodborne illness. Damn, I swear, at the end of last year, they were talking about this illness that was originating in avians that we happen to eat a lot of. They had to quell millions of birds, millions of chickens, millions of turkeys just last year for some kind of illness that an animal could get tested for and they can prevent you from eating. What they saying now is, oh, we fired them niggas. Say what? The firing and departure of as many as 20,000 Health and Human Services employees have upended public health research and disrupted the agency's work in areas like bird flu and drug reviews. President Donald Trump hopes to slash as much as $40 billion from the HHS. Unfortunately, significant reductions in force, including a key quality assurance officer, an analytical chemist, and 2 microbiologists at FDA's Human Food Program Moffitt Center, have an immediate and significant impact on the Food Emergency Response Network, also known as FERN, Proficiency Testing, PT program, says the email sent Tuesday from FERN's National Program Office and seen by Reuters. The FDA in early April suspended an effort to improve its testing for bird flu in milk, cheese, and pet food as a result of staff cuts. We'll talk about him in a minute. Then the USDA, right, withdraws a plan to limit salmonella levels in raw poultry. The agriculture department will not require poultry companies to limit salmonella bacteria in their products. I thought niggas living was a good thing. It don't seem like it is. Not to these people. This can't be the pro-life party, as they call themselves. They just had a recall on butter because they found fecal back there shitting in the butter. They're shitting in the butter. What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? I don't know what to tell y'all, my boy. Hey, man, I'm gonna say something that's real off. When them Heaven's Gates niggas killed themselves back in the 90s, I was like, surely it can't be that bad. I get it. If they was taking signups to go to heaven right now, a lot of people would leave. Get away from all this shit. What type of fuckery is this? Ain't that right, Amy Winehouse? That's crazy. So it was withdrawing a rule proposed in August after 3 years of development. Officials with the USDA Food Safety and Inspection Service cited feedback from more than 7,000 public comments and said they would evaluate whether it should update current salmonella regulations. The rule would have required poultry companies to keep levels of salmonella bacteria under a certain threshold and test for the presence of 6 strains most associated with illness, including 3 found in turkey and 3 in chicken. If the levels exceeded the standard or any of those strains were found, the poultry couldn't be sold and would be subject to recall. The plan aimed to reduce an estimated 125,000 salmonella infections from chicken and 43,000 from turkey each year. Overall, salmonella causes 1.35 million infections a year, most through food, and about 420 deaths. I guess they said there wasn't enough deaths to be concerned about. I'm also starting to get how Jim Jones made them people drink the Kool-Aid. Oh, they apparently killed a politician? That went to go make sure wasn't nothing crazy happening. And I found out from another politician taking another trip to another country to make sure wasn't nothing crazy happening. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Them Jim Jones niggas did a lot of wild shit. And they're about to make a documentary / movie series about it. So we're about to see it all in its glory. Why do we make documentaries and miniseries about the fucking craziest of people, bruh? That's a real question I have. Why is it that Jim Jones gets a Oscar-nominated actor to play him, right? Where the heroes? That's why this place fucked up. Anyway, I'm gonna continue on. So yeah, that happened. So now let's talk about your boy. I'll fix it next time. Get the fuck out of my face. RFK Jr. Wrong kid died. Autism study to amass medical records of many Americans. The National Institutes of Health is amassing private medical records from a number of federal and commercial databases to give to Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy's new effort to study autism. The new data will allow external researchers picked for Kennedy's autism studies to study comprehensive patient data with broad coverage of the U.S. population for the first time, NIH Director Jay Bhattacharya said. The idea of the platform is that the existing data resources are often fragmented and difficult to obtain. The NIH itself will often pay multiple times for those same data resources. Baby, that's data. That's data. Y'all niggas don't know what y'all doing. Trust me, ask me how I know. That's how the data work. You gotta comb through the data. You gotta massage the data to make sure ain't no duplicates. That's a job. It take a job to do that. This is some dumb shit, bro. This is some dumb shit. I know some very smart analytics people. You gotta do that with the data, man. What are we talking about, bruh? Medication records from pharmacy chains, lab testing, and genomics data from patients treated by the Department of Veteran Affairs and Indian Health Services, claims from private insurers, and data from smartwatches and fitness trackers will all be linked together. I just bought this thing. We really at the beginning of dystopian times. And everything is happening very quickly, bro. I mean, but your medical records are going to be medical records. The doctor going to do what they want to with them, what they need to with them in the first place. And what we're learning is like not enough people are bucking against the system. They find themselves being tools of the system. And it just becomes weird. Now they're talking to Medicare and Medicaid services to broaden agreements governing access to their data. Pharmacy chains, health organizations, clinical data, claims and billing, environmental data, sensors and wearables, research competitions, regulatory approvals. Oh, this is what they're supposed to get out of it. Regulatory approvals, longitudinal data sets, drug development, national disease registries, real-time health monitoring. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want the real-time health monitoring coming from my sensors going to my goddamn insurance company. Nigga, you're about to have a heart attack. Your premium just went up 5,000%. Are you sure you want to skip coverage? You sure you don't want to pay that? Your heart's about to give out. I am not even joking. In addition, a disease registry. A disease registry is being launched to track Americans with autism, which will be integrated with the data. Advocacy groups and experts have called out Kennedy for describing autism as a preventable disease, which they say is stigmatizing and unfounded. I wish they all got on a plane. And that's all I can say about that. Let's continue on with more evidence the system is failing. USPS law enforcement assists Trump mass deportation effort. Sources and records show. The Postal Inspection Services recently joined a federal task force to locate undocumented immigrants using data from mail and packages. The U.S. Postal Investigation Service, a little-known police and investigative force for the mail agency, recently joined a Department of Homeland Security task force geared toward finding, detaining, and deporting undocumented immigrants. Immigration officials are seeking photographs of the outside of envelopes and packages, an inspection service program known as mail covers, and access to the Postal Investigation Agency's broad surveillance systems, including Postal Service online account data, package and mail tracking information, credit card data, and financial material and IP addresses. To hell for all I care. Police state. Police state. Police state. Homeland Security officials have previously partnered with tax, housing, and public health authorities. They basically making it to the point where everybody has to agree with what they are doing, or face consequences. In a related note, federal authorities arrest 2 judges in escalation of Trump immigration crackdown. They released Judge Hannah Dugan on obstruction charges. Dugan is accused of helping an undocumented immigrant evade arrest. 2 separate cases, all right? Milwaukee Circuit Court, Hannah Dugan was arrested Friday morning and charged with obstruction. She is accused of helping an undocumented immigrant evade arrest by ICE after he appeared in her courtroom on April 18th. Dugan's arrest came one day after federal authorities arrested a former New Mexico judge, Joel Cano, and his wife on charges related to the Cano's reported harboring of an undocumented immigrant with alleged ties to the notorious gang Tren de Aragua. But they lying and saying everybody tied to them anyway. So it don't matter if they were a gang member or not. But why the fuck would a judge be harboring a gang member, nigga? Like, ask yourself the questions. Because, like, that don't even make no sense. I don't care if it was his son. He probably wouldn't do that. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, bro. That says that is insane, and citizens should be all up in arms about that. Do they really think they're going to stop at undocumented people? No, they're going to track everybody. I just said what they was doing with the data that they want to compile on every person, mixed with what businesses have on us. There's a certain inflection point that we're racing toward. There being complete profiles being put together of all of our biological, behavioral, market data, your goddamn test scores from school, like the permanent record that they were talking about when we were in grade school. If you do this wrong, it's gonna go on your permanent record. They really trying to make that a thing for real. Doesn't need to make sense, just need to be an excuse. Yeah, you ain't lying. So I'm gonna talk about Dugan because that was the big one that happened. Dugan made initial appearance Friday and was released on bond. Dugan's arraignment and plea proceedings for May 15th. So he got caught. What happened was the FBI was looking into Dugan's conduct surrounding an attempted arrest by ICE on the 18th. On that day, Dugan became visibly angry after learning that ICE agents were waiting in the hallway to arrest Eduardo Flores Ruiz, after a hearing in his criminal battery case. So he is a criminal. Still entitled to due process, though. Dugan and another judge entered the hallway and confronted the arrest team, telling one deportation officer that he needed a judicial warrant to make an arrest instead of an administrative warrant. And that's the truth, Ruth. That is the absolute truth. If they ever come to you talking about they have an administrative warrant, they do not have a warrant. They do not have a warrant. At no point in time should we lie down and submit to the shit that they're trying to impress upon us. Fight at all costs. And remember that point. If it's an administrative warrant, that's not a real fucking warrant, big dog. Dugan then ordered them to go to the chief judge's office. After returning to her courtroom, Dugan escorted Flores Ruiz and his counsel through a jury door, which leads to a non-public area of the building, the affidavit said, citing multiple witnesses. Flores Ruiz and his attorney then returned to the hallway and took an elevator down to leave the building. After being told that Flores Ruiz was in the front of the courthouse, agents ran toward him and identified themselves as law enforcement. That's when he got arrested. He turned around, sprinted down the street, foot chase. They pursued him for the entire length of the courthouse and ultimately apprehended them near the intersection of, yeah. So what happened with the judge that I found super interesting and is not mentioned here is it was people she worked with on an everyday basis that actually were the catalysts of her being charged, because they were basically witnesses saying that, oh yeah, she definitely obstructed. And that's when Cash Patel bitch ass jumped on her. Like, they doing shit like doing a perp walk for a judge. Like, these niggas disgust me. I just really have to say that. Like, I never consider myself, I am proud to be an American. But where all them niggas at? Because this shit should piss y'all off more than it pissed me off. But y'all somehow done forgot. Y'all done looked into the mirror too long and got yourself all hypnotized on your race and where you should be in life. And shit is not clicking like it needs. The synapse is not synapsing. And I don't understand it. But I don't have to understand it. That's what Dio said. I don't have to understand it. So this was posted last week, and I maybe ain't read what the fuck going on with this. Hold on. I need ChatGPT to. Oh, so they really Oh, so they really trying to revoke the Civil Rights Act? Title VII of the Civil Rights Act that rely on a theory of disparate and ooh. I need somebody smarter to explain this to me. I need somebody smarter than me to explain this to me. And this is exactly what I was thinking, and it was saying. This is a really big deal, bro. Trump swung his executive wrecking ball on Wednesday at a key component of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 in a move that threatens decades of anti-discrimination efforts. Under a new executive order, the Orwellian title Restoring Equality of Opportunity and Meritocracy, his administration will deprioritize enforcement of statutes and regulations that cover disparate impact liability. And attacking this critical legal tool in the name of supposed meritocracy Trump is green-lighting rampant discrimination as long as you're subtle about it. Whoa. And it's at this time that I have to have like a very real conversation with y'all. And it's like, I've been wanting to start a family. And it's hard to make that pitch to somebody with shit like this going on, because you really don't really know what the hell is going on or is gonna go on at any point. Once that train has left the station, there's no stopping it. There's no stopping it. And it's like, with warning signs like this is a warning sign apparently, or with things like this happening, it's like, how do you even approach the subject to have a conversation with somebody and not seem fucking crazy? This is a big deal, bro. And But that's the thing. I already think that we're at a mountain lodge, and that lodge is positioned over a cliff. And what I've seen this morning was a little bit of snow falling from not the sky, but like the top of the mountain, like little shifts here and there. And it be like, dog, is an avalanche about to happen? Because you can't reverse or stop an avalanche once it's started. Everything in the avalanche's way is getting plowed through. And there is not any reversing it. Especially when they are dismantling your educational system. They are deleting history and having certain, like, if they get rid of everything saying, hey, we fought for civil rights, and get rid of civil rights in a generation or two, people will think that they've always been in whatever position they're in at that time. That's the point. They're trying to kill everybody here at the same time, force women to have kids so they have a workforce, right? And then also be like, oh yeah, all that shit that we take pride in and know that people fought and died for our rights. We'll know that, but we'll be gone because of bird flu and shit like that. And it'll be kids who never even knew that was the case. And they can be like, yeah, y'all been slaves this entire time, actually. Hell yeah, your parents were slaves too, but you don't know them because they went and died on slave shit. And it's fucking horrible, bro. And I hate to be like, that's the play, because you wouldn't imagine that, nah, bro, not in 2025, could people with fucking Elon Musk. And what's that nigga with the Amazon and the lazy eye? Jeff Bezos. These niggas, bro. They want a workforce, because look at Jeff Bezos and what he does with the people who exist now. They know they have rights, so certain ways they can't be treated in his factories. They start unions. He denies them, fires them, does all kind of shit he can to stifle them. He'll close a factory down before he let a nigga start a union. But if he can use your biological matter to reproduce, kill you, dismantle all union laws, dismantle all civil rights, that person who fought for the union, their kid, might turn around and be a slave to Amazon. And I know what I'm saying sound crazy, because it sounds crazy to me saying it. I don't know how crazy it sounds if I like compare it to like what I'm reading. Kids already going, AI doesn't mention this, so it's not true. I don't know a kid like that. Thank God kids in my life got a little bit more sense. I would never think that this country would not do anything insidious to its citizens, because it has. It has, it always has, and it always will. We don't know 1/4 of the fucked up shit this country has done. Honestly, me being a fan of history is the only reason I just know random shit. I was watching some video earlier today on Instagram where some chick was telling me about some ship that the Navy transported possibly from a location to a location, but everybody on the ship transported through time. The USS Eldridge. It could be going to giving people $5,000 to be a baby. Now, what the fuck was I just talking about? Huh? Come on, family. What were we just talking about? It costs about like $250,000 to raise a child from birth to adulthood. And I would imagine that would probably go up during whatever we're entering. I heard $250,000 to raise a child. To have one, I don't know. I damn sure tell you that $5,000 gone within the first year. But these are also people who voted for him because he gave them a $1,400 check. I don't think they're money smart. I just think that it's not, the piston's not pistoning. You know what I'm saying? Kids expensive. The $5,000 will be given to every American mother after giving birth. Now, what constitutes somebody being American? Being that they're going after birthright citizenship. But that's just talk. You know, we talking about giving people money to have a baby. Meanwhile, they mistreating the people that are here. So they already deported this man, Abrego Garcia. They already deported this man, and he's legally allowed to be here. They basically tried to run a PR campaign and said, hey, because his wife got a protective custody order a few years back, yeah, he may be supposed to be here by the rules, but we deported him anyway because he's Hispanic, and then look, he deserves to be gone because he was a bad guy. I don't know how y'all feel about politics and things like that. You know, honestly, where you fall on the spectrum is none of my business, right? The humanity is what I care about. And there's a distinct difference between like what I consider to be a regular Republican and like these MAGA people. They don't have no empathy. They don't have no ability to put themselves in someone else's shoes, and they don't see humanity in no one unless they look exactly like them. And oftentimes, they still don't. They are literally a person on an island alone, and if you are not them or someone that they want to impart that trust and care on, if they're capable, right? You just shit out of luck. Look at what they do to their own. Look at what they do to their own. But with people who don't look like them, they just get the brunt end of the deal. So Abrego Garcia is in El Salvador. His representative really did go down and see him. And for a week or two, that man was a rock star. Like, that's kind of how we are now. America won't act. But if one person in America acts, America will deify them. And it's like, but no, we all kind of need to be moving like what is happening is some bad shit. And however you see fit, need to put the thumb down and put some pressure on it. What does that look like? That look like different for a hell of a lot of people. But I feel like a conversation. I feel like it take a conversation with yourself and with others to be like, what is possible? I feel like disruption presents itself in plenty of ways, and I feel like we don't have enough imagination when it comes down to that because we don't know what that looks like here. The only stories we know of disruption come from like the civil rights or, some kind of major boycott. BDS type shit. But you can't even say that without somebody attacking you and slotting you into a certain slot. Kaylani, even this month, ran into issues because she's pro-Palestine. They equate that with anti-Semitism. And so she was supposed to perform at Cornell, I believe. They canceled her appointment. They canceled her concert. And they may have their reasons for it because you got to basically do what Trump wants you to do, or else you got to, get a knock in your funding like Harvard. And these are all stories that are going on that I'm like, Harvard, I don't give a fuck about, to be honest with you. But, they just happen to be in the crosshairs right now. It's crazy because the Semitic people also include Ethiopian and Eritrean people, but they're not usually included in that conversation. I wonder what the difference between them and them is. I don't know. So, we've got Abrego Garcia. He's in El Salvador. And then basically his wife is here and she's stuck here with all these eyes on her and all this shit happening, right? She had to move to a safe house after the Department of Homeland Security posted her home address. Now, the thing about it is, again, government entities are really big and really responsible for a lot of shit. When you replace the people at the top with idiots, one of two things could have happened here. Somebody really could have posted it by accident, which is probably a worst case scenario. But it's kind of in line with what we have known and seen from this administration. Pete Hegseth in the Signal chats and all kind of other shit. It's dangerous because they don't even know what they're doing is wrong. I think it would kind of be better if they did it intentionally, because there's no way you could have someone who would leak someone's address in charge of anything important. Leak their address on accident. She and her children have been moved. She, being Jennifer Vasquez Sura, the wife of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, says she and her children have been moved to a safe house after the Department of Homeland Security posted a court document on social media that included their home address. And of course, it was on fucking social media. I don't feel safe when the government posts my address, the house where my family lives, for everyone to see, especially in this case, it's gone viral and people have all sorts of opinions. DHS last week posted a copy of a civil protective order granted to his wife 4 years ago. This is the post that they posted saying Kilmar Abrego Garcia had a history of violence and was not the upstanding Maryland man that the media has portrayed him as. Nigga, it's not your business. This is the same party that be talking about big government being all in their shit. They beat their wives. How hypocritical of them as a collective is this? I don't know, bro. The home address and other personal information was not redacted. She made a statement saying that she had an experience with domestic violence in a previous relationship, and she sought the protective order after a disagreement with Abrego Garcia in case things escalated. Things did not escalate, and I decided not to follow through with the civil court process. No one is perfect, and no marriage is perfect. That is not a justification for ICE's action of abducting him and deporting him to a country where he is supposed to be protected from deportation. Man, like, what the fuck is going on, bro? Like, that's all I really need to know. What the fuck is going on? Trump administration deports a gay makeup artist to prison in El Salvador. Andre Hernandez Romero, a gay makeup artist who came to the United States last year in search of asylum, is one of 238 Venezuelan migrants who were flown from the U.S. to a maximum security prison in El Salvador 3 weeks ago. Yep, we know the background. Tren de Agua, Alien Enemies Act, yak, yak, yak. Our client, who was in the middle of seeking asylum, just disappeared. One day he was there, and the next day we're supposed to have court, and he wasn't brought to court. He left his home country last May because he was targeted for being gay and for his political views. He made the long trek north through the Darien Gap, a 60-mile roadless stretch of dense forest between Colombia and Panama, to Mexico, where he eventually got an appointment to seek asylum in the U.S. At a legal border crossing near San Diego, he was taken into custody while his case was processed. He has a strong asylum case. He has had what is known as a credible fear interview, the first step in seeking asylum. Photos were taken by a Time magazine photographer last month to show Hernandez Romero at CCOT. That's the prison in El Salvador. Holsinger said he heard a young man say, "I'm not a gang member, I'm gay, I'm a stylist." The young man cried for his mother as he was slapped and had his head shaved. His tattoos were also visible in the photos taken of him by Holsinger. Those tattoos, crowns, were the only evidence U.S. immigration officials presented in court to accuse him of being a part of the Tren de Agua gang. A crown, my nigga? Oh, it don't go up there. I got a crown on my arm. I'm not Tren de Agua. And no offense to them. I don't want no smoke. I definitely wouldn't be Tren de Agua. I already know that. Come on now. But the crowns themselves were on top of the names of his parents. The most plausible explanation for that is that his mom and dad are his king and queen. Are y'all kidding me, bro? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know where it all ends. I don't know where we go from here, but I know it's going to take a whole lot more noise than what is currently happening for anything to really change with all this shit. And I'm curious as to what the tipping point is going to be. How far will people let this get before they start coming up in arms? And hopefully not too far, because what they do to one subset of people, they'll do to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, until there are no more. And even then, they'll do it to themselves. I'm giving it till the end of the year. But what between now, it's not even May yet. What will it take? And that's the thing, you can hardly ever get two types of people to agree to the same thing. So I'm very curious what it's going to take, because last year was a real decision. I know people are tired of being told, "Oh, this is the most important election ever." Can we not see what's happening here and not retroactively say, "Y'all just ain't like that lady, bro. For whatever reason you had to not like that lady, you ain't like that lady." On the opposite front, hey man, get this shit out of my face. Some good news that occurred today, actually, is the Columbia student Mohsen Mahdawi was freed after a federal judge ordered their release. The Palestinian, a lawful permanent U.S. resident, was detained and ordered deported despite not being charged with a crime. And I think what the difference between him and a lot of other people is, they stopped him before he got deported. Was detained for his activism, walked out of immigration detention on Wednesday after a federal judge in Vermont ordered his release. Mahdawi had been detained and ordered deported by them niggas on 14 April, despite not being charged with a crime. The 2 weeks of detention so far demonstrate great harm to a person who has been charged with no crime. I do agree. He was arrested by ICE in Colchester, Vermont, while attending a naturalization interview. And that's the other snake shit that's going on, right? Like, people are doing what they're supposed to be doing, they think, and being pulled by a dragnet into some other shit. That's not crazy to nobody. There basically is no pathway to citizenship when you're going through the proper channels and somebody don't agree with it and decide they just gonna send you wherever anyway. And don't let you be a person who's like literally running for your life. Like, from what I understand, the Kilmar Abrego Garcia dude can't go back home because of the gangs. They sent him back home to be locked up with the gangs. Until his representative met with him, there was a lot of fear that he was already dead. And you got people who just don't give a fuck. And it's so weird, man. I mean, cruelty is the point, and I'm used to seeing cruel people, but not the people who make decisions, not the people who consider themselves the mascot of the country. And that's basically what a president is. He runs shit, but he's also a mascot. So however people view that president, they're going to view the country. And I definitely don't want to be judged by somebody comparing me to him. So they're still going to try to argue for dude's deportation. Marco Rubio says that Mahdawi's activities and presence in the U.S. undermines U.S. policy to combat anti-Semitism. So they're going to make everything about being anti-Semitism. Boy. And then this news hit. And it hit so close to home. It hit so close to home. I don't know, man. I don't really know. I had let this dream go a long time ago, paying them loans back. And right now they like, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. In default means like you're not paying it. You took out this loan and you're not actively paying it back. No thanks, PBS. 5.3 million borrowers are in default for their federal student loans. The Trump administration's announcement marks an end to a period of leniency that began during the COVID-19 pandemic. No federal student loans have been referred for collection since March 2020, including those in default. Beginning May 5th, that's next Monday, the department will begin involuntary collection through the Treasury Department's Offset Program, which holds payments from the government, including tax refund, federal salaries, and other benefits from people with past due debts to the government. After a 30-day notice, the department will also begin garnishing wages for borrowers in default. Already, many borrowers have been bracing for obligations to come due. Borrowers who don't make payments for 9 months go into default. There you go, Nemo. Which is reported on their credit scores and going to collections. In addition to the borrowers already in default, another 4 million are between 91 and 180 days late on their loan payments. Less than about 40% of all borrowers are current on their student loans. So that presents a problem that we should address at some point in time. But instead of addressing the problem, they say, hey, we just want your money. We just want the money. Nothing they have done has actually been helpful. Now, we have talked for probably over an hour about things these people have done, and y'all can't name me one thing that's supposed to help somebody. It's crazy because Joe Biden tried to pay student loans. They said that's illegal. But what we can do is forcibly take our money back from everybody, no matter what the situation they in. Not even ask, you're just going to take it back. That's legal. What else is legal is that DOGE can take sensitive labor data. Is this the story I thought it was? Yeah, this is. According to an official whistleblower, disclosure shared with Congress and other federal overseers that was obtained by NPR, subsequent interviews with a whistleblower and records of internal communications, technical staff members were alarmed about what DOGE engineers did when they were granted access to those records. Particularly when staffers noticed a spike in data leaving the agency. It's possible that the data included sensitive information on unions, ongoing legal cases, and corporate secrets. Data that 4 labor law experts tell NPR should almost never leave the National Labor Relations Board. Why would Elon Musk need that? It's insane, bro. So I don't know, man. In addition to this, they also say that they have seen like Russian people with Russian IPs have access to systems with correct credentials from DOGE. Come on, bro. It's people here legally doing things that they should be able to do, getting arrested and deported. But the motherfuckers who are literally revealing national sensitive data to a foreign party, they just get to do whatever they want to do. Didn't they kick out Elon for his drug use? He hasn't. I don't think it was the drug use that was the issue. I think ultimately he is a crack fiend. I mean, it may not be crack. It may be like that other shit that he on. But he's a dickhead. He wants to leave the government himself because Tesla stockholders are literally demanding it. And he can't handle not being the man of some shit. He bit off more than he could chew, and he really wasn't expecting the public reaction to go the way that it's going. And it's just all bad for all his businesses. It's all bad. But it's too late. We need to start dog walking people. Bankrupt these motherfuckers, bruh. That's literally what we got to do. If money talks and that's the only thing y'all understand, be prepared to wait these motherfuckers out. Co-ops, community gardens, free libraries, networks of like-minded people with skills that you can barter with. We gonna need community to get through this. But this is coming at a time where we have been programmed to be so distant from each other, right? And I think what really, really, really did it and put the nail in the coffin was COVID. And I understand kind of almost both sides about how people felt about the lockdown. Number one, we needed the lockdown because, nah, nigga, I'm not about to get sick because y'all on this bullshit. But also just like some of the sticking points with COVID is nobody was ready for that shit. And nobody was ready to deal with the after effects of that shit. It's full-blown people who do not know how to deal with other people that have been forced into workplaces. Now there's a return to office policy. Some of them have been managed in a lot better than a lot of other people. The kids at these schools, they got it the worst because these are their formative years about how to be social and how to navigate a social environment. Not to say we had shit perfect, but they operated from a negative. It was like 2-3 years that they was at the house. when they should have been learning how to get confidence in themselves. Everything's online now. What are you doing in school in person? It's a lot going on. So, what was that movie we watched where a black man started his own community and garden and the FBI just killed him? What movie was that? You talking about Black Messiah? Judas and the Black Messiah? Oh, no. Community garden? I don't know. Satirical comedy? I don't know, bro. Yeah, you're gonna have to remind me of that one because I'm blanking on it as well. A satirical comedy with a black man with a garden. It's not ringing a bell for me right now. But let's continue on because we've been at this for a little while now. This video gonna be long as hell. The person with the most potential to have changed the world was a Luigi Mangione. They're trying to get Luigi the fuck out of here so don't nobody follow that example. But the thing is, we actually need hella people to follow that. Maybe not just CEOs though, you know? Maybe not just CEOs though, you know? They're really just trying to make an example out of him. And it's so apparent, bro. Like, did they seek the death penalty for George Zimmerman? Did they seek the death penalty for any of the Charlottesville niggas? Did they seek the death penalty for anybody who invaded the Capitol on January 6th? You kill one person and that's terrorism? I don't think nobody was scared. We all know he got who he was looking for. And we shrugged collectively. We actually started cheering for him. And maybe that's what did it. Luigi, we're sorry that we got excited, my boy. We ain't seen nothing like that since the 60s, 70s time frame. I still haven't ruled out he's a patsy. I actually hope that is the case. I hope it is found out during the trial that, oh, it actually wasn't me. Dun, dun, dun. That'd be an ill movie, too. I ain't gonna lie to you, my dog. I would write that movie. It would be like a 2-hour movie where like an hour 15 of it is us thinking one person's the killer and then finding out he's not, and then trying to find the killer in the last 45 minutes. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. That would be dope. I think that would be so dope. But anyway. Yeah, man. They say this is what they say of Brian Thompson, an innocent man and father of two. Fuck you, Pam Bondi. I'm not gonna say anything weird towards you because you're a lady. But fuck you. Anyway, free Luigi. He ain't even do nothing. Right. That man made millions of dollars killing people. Nah, Nessa, I want them to, all the elites. We need a cultural reset. Kendrick tried to tell y'all a couple years ago, just because a person rich don't make them like a good person. And it's hella people who think that. Not necessarily a rich equates good, but because they're rich, they must be good because they got something good. They got something I want, so they must be a good person somehow, some way. And I just don't understand how y'all can make those connections. But either or, we continue on. It's been a lot of negative news, man. I can't even front to you, man. Like, it's been a lot of shit going on. A lot of shit. So let's switch gears from all this negativity to something a little bit more, I don't know, like lighter. Let's talk about Sinners again. And I know we just talked about Sinners on Sunday. We don't have to talk plot points in the movie. So if you've not seen Sinners, you don't have to leave because we're not spoiling anything with Sinners. We just talking about the box office run. So this came out 3 days ago. So that's what, Sunday? Horror movies are often 1 week wonders. Oh, I know you're not. Man, fuck y'all. All right. This is the same story. How y'all took a story from somebody else and don't want to show it to me? Anyway, horror movies are often 1 week wonders at the box office, but Ryan Coogler's Sinners is defying the odds and proven to be one true event cinema. In its second weekend in theaters, Sinners earned $45 million in ticket sales from theaters in the U.S. and Canada, according to studio estimates on Sunday. That's down a minuscule 6% from its Easter holiday launch, the smallest drop in any genre since Avatar in 2009. Worldwide, Sinners has now made $161.6 million. For the industry, the showing proves that the film's reach has broadened beyond horror fans to mainstream audiences wanting to see what the hype is about, and I think a lot of those people went to go see it. Last weekend, men made up 56% of the audience. This weekend, the gender divide narrowed to 50-50. I think a lot of dudes went to go take their girlfriends to let them know, hey, we gonna eat regardless of you wash up or not. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. Premium large format showings like the 70mm IMAX screens are also a big draw. IMAX screens worldwide accounted for some 21% of the weekend globally, a nearly 9% increase from last weekend. Yeah, that's what it's trending toward. And I know certain communities not gonna want to see the movie, but I also think Ryan Coogler also accounted for that. So maybe some Chinese people will see the movie. We don't know. See, they shouldn't have said musical elements. You know, the interesting thing about this to me was not only the fact that Sinners damn near didn't drop nothing but 6%, but also like it faced some stiff competition in week 2, right? So The Accountant 2 came out, Minecraft is already out. Minecraft came in at 3, if I'm not mistaken. No, it came out at 4. Yep. So let's talk about it. The Accountant 2, a sequel starring Ben Affleck and released by Amazon, opened in 3rd place with 24 million. The film that beat Accountant 2 for 2nd place was the re-release of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. The anniversary re-release took in 25.2 million. It more than doubled last year's re-release of The Phantom Menace. Internationally, it earned 17 million, giving it a 42.2 million global weekend. Minecraft came in at 4th. And then Until Dawn came in at 5th with 8. That's crazy. That's the top 10. I wanted to see Pink Floyd at Pompeii, but it was only playing for like one day. I'll probably watch the old one. No, I'll probably get the 4K one when it drop on DVD. I think I'm back to getting DVDs, bro, because I'm definitely getting the Sinners DVD. I am buying physical media of shit I fuck with, and if I have to have a CD book full of DVDs, so be it. So be it. Thunderbolts took over IMAX from Sinners. Yeah, that's happening as of tonight going forward. So the IMAX versions, if you didn't see it when you were supposed to see it, you may be losing the opportunity to see it in a lot of different places. But that IMAX cut, I really do appreciate it. If I was anywhere near where they was doing a 70mm showing, I would have saw that, but I wasn't. It is what it is. Really great movie, really great solid reviews. Even random people liked it. Even general audience people liked it. So I mean, like, I think that bodes well for not only movies but Ryan Coogler. Movies, because the CEO of Netflix recently came out and said, "Why do we even still have movie theaters? It's apparent that people want to watch movies at home. Nigga, y'all don't even share y'all data with nobody about how many people watching those movies. And then if I'm paying y'all $20 a month, I'm going to end up watching what y'all come out with. Thing about me, though, is if there's a fucking an experience I want to see in theaters, I'm going to go see that shit. And you're not going to stop me. We cannot let them take the movie theaters, bro. We cannot. There are no third places for people to go. Working home. Everywhere else, you got to spend some money. Do you want to go to the club? Nah. Well, you can't go to the bookstore because there's damn near not any bookstores. You can't go to libraries because they're running out of money. There are no third places for people to go. And so the movies, I feel like, it ain't the best third place because still you got to spend some money to go in that bitch. But, like, don't take that from us. Maybe when they re-release it in the fall, it'll get another IMAX run. Yeah, I think that would be a good look. But again, I want a prequel and a sequel. That's just me. And speaking of Sinners, Ben Stiller and Patrick Schwarzenegger and more call out Variety for defanging Sinners box office. So this happened the week prior, right? So Variety came under fire over the weekend for a box office report that dinged Ryan Coogler's hit horror film Sinners for having an uphill battle to make a profit despite its impressive $63 million global opening. Ben Stiller, Patrick Schwarzenegger were among Hollywood figures calling out the trade outlet for its questionable framing, defending Sinners for its clear box office win, and emphasizing that even in the light of its $90 million price tag before expenses for global marketing, the $63 million haul is accounting for just 3 days. Stiller tweeted Sunday, "In what universe does a $60 million opening for an original studio warrant this headline?" And the thing about it is, there are pictures showing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is widely looked at as the most successful of Quentin Tarantino's movie. It had a 60. It actually earned less money than Sinners, and the headlines were talking about how big of a win it was for him. So you have to understand something else is at play here, and I'm tired of calling out the obvious. Y'all already know what it is. Comedian and actress Kristen Shaw responded to Stiller's Twitter post decrying that no one will write anything without a negative spin anymore, even when the Sinner's success should be the celebratory moment. I guess that's what gets the clicks, but it's so gross and tired, Shaw wrote. And then people start thinking like that. It's a disgusting cycle we're in. Schwarzenegger, a breakout star of White Lotus Season 3, took to the comment section of Variety's tweet, simply writing, "It's opening weekend." In a more shady and sarcastic response, filmmaker and producer Joe Russo mocked Variety for raising concerns over what were unrealistic expectations for any film. Variety, why didn't the movie make back all its budget in 3 days? Blacklist founder Franklin Leonard has become a major proponent for the film's success and began calling out box office coverage from the New York Times and Variety, among others, for what appeared to be a double standard for black-centered works. He pointed out the differences in Variety's coverage of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood from Quentin Tarantino, which made 10% less at the box office on 10% more theaters pre-pandemic and the same budget with a similar deal structure. So between that and the fact that Ryan Coogler got a crazy deal, and I love like how he said in he said that shit on Democracy Now. I'm about to show y'all the little tweet right neat. I admire him a lot, and I think that that's something as black men we got to be more comfortable saying at times. I admire Ryan Coogler so much for his poise. Obviously, he's fucking talented out this world. Let's say that right now. Like, Ryan Coogler has not missed with a movie that he has put his eye behind that fucking lens. He is shooting perfect from the fucking field. Some of my favorite directors can't say that, right? On top of that, he has held it down as a black man from Oakland. He's so Oakland. I love it when he talks. I love how black my brother is. Like, force these people to come to you for the shit. You know, also being a brother with a stutter, I know a lot of people would kind of take that and shy away from the center stage. And I love how he's leaning into being literally a news topic at these days, because he was definitely a news topic when them people in that bank here in Atlanta called the police on him and tried to arrest him for withdrawing his own money. So, like, to go from a moment like that to a triumph that is sinners. I am so proud of him. I don't know this man at all, man, but like I promise y'all, like I don't fan out around most people. I think if I ever met Ryan Coogler, I wouldn't have no choice but to tell him like, hey, bro, like long time fan. You're just I don't want no autograph, I don't want no picture, nothing like that. I just want to tell you, yeah, respect, brother. Like you do the thing. Anything he want, y'all better give it to him for free. That's the man right there, bro. In Atlanta. This shit crazy. Anyway, yeah. So the last story I wanted to touch on, y'all may be a little bit mad at me for how I'm gonna do it, but let's talk about it. You know who my dad is? Expert shares real reason Shedeur Sanders draft weekend is a disaster. It's not what you think. Prank callers obtained Shedeur Sanders' phone number recently, rang him up, and pretended to be with the New Orleans Saint. Their closing viral joke proved prophetic. You're gonna have to wait a while. All right, when they wrote this at 9 a.m. on Sunday, he hadn't been drafted. 32 teams skipped over him. But he was drafted Saturday afternoon. The Browns passed on him 6 times before drafting him. On paper, this is a shock. He is a good player in a weak class at his position, which is very true. Not to say nothing to Cam Ward, because Cam Ward was 100% the best quarterback in the draft. Shout out to the Miami Hurricanes. You already know what this is. I'm not biased. I'm just telling you a truth, baby. Just telling you a truth. I don't even want to hear you talk. Say shit to me. You know what I'm saying? I can see this. I was saying this when we was playing NCAA. Go back and watch the NCAA tapes on YouTube. I was saying that shit then. Anyway, sorry. Less talented QBs have been chosen ahead of him. That was a thing. Is that a box? It's the U, nigga. It's the U. Anyway. So what the heck is going on? You'd think he had a looming scandal that only professional teams had inside intel about. Sometimes the simplest answer is the easiest one. And before we get into it, I just gotta say, I sat here all weekend and I saw people creating AI motivation memes for this man. People were writing articles comparing the NFL to chattel slavery, which it is, and it's true. But this time, I don't think it was on the nose about it. I think it was a little different. I seen people basically call everybody and their mama a racist because they didn't draft Shedeur Sanders. Now, a broken clock is right how many times a day? Can I get it in the chat? How many times a day is the broken clock correct? Twice. Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate you, my boy. So they weren't wrong, and I could not say nothing while any of that happened. And I actually waited until bruh got drafted before I said anything. I am very happy for Shedeur Sanders being drafted by the Browns. Now, do I think it was a smart decision on the Browns' part? No. Are there other teams that I personally, it would have been cool if he went to Dallas. You know, my friends would hate if I said if he went to New Orleans, they would hate it because they would have to cheer for him. Why do you have to cheer for him? Is he your cousin? Is he someone you know? Why do you have to cheer for him? If he goes to the Saints, there's no way I'm cheering. I would not cheer for the Saints because he's there when Alvin Kamara, who is from Atlanta, is there. I would already have a reason to root for the Saints, which I never will. Not since that Super Bowl they won. And I only did that because of Hurricane Katrina. So why did Shedeur Sanders' NFL stock fall? It sure seems like the NFL decision makers simply don't like him as a person. They see him as entitled and not worth the media circus that comes with bringing aboard a Nepo baby. He turned off teams with his attitude, an NFL draft expert Todd McShay said on his podcast. He added that Sanders' job interviews with 3 NFL teams did not go smoothly. Writer Bill Simmons called it irrational confidence, applicable in most cases to men in sports who think they're more athletic than they are and become delusional enough to take, say, a reckless three-pointer. McShay added in his analysis, Sanders is not talented enough to warrant the fanfare he put on himself, hosting elaborate draft parties. And online, football fans were all too happy to make memes, trash the 23-year-old, and revel in the shading fraud. A new pope might be selected before Shedeur Sanders, someone said Friday. Damn, that's fucked up. Just copped a new Shedeur Sanders jersey, another said, holding a shirt that reads LinkedIn. I'm sorry. That's not funny, but it is. But what's really going on? Now, I will also say, when I'm reading the article and I'm saying it's Todd McShay and Bill Simmons, the optics don't look right. It looks exactly like how everybody is saying. But I'll also say that's a problem for the NFL because who's a good black NFL writer? There are some NFL insiders. They're usually former players themselves, right? But really, when it come down to it, there's not a person known for just talking football who's well enough known to be known by everybody and respected by everybody. They don't highlight those people. So yeah, the NFL insider is going to be these same dudes we hear about all the time. Colin Cowherd would have been a worse example for me. Colin Cowherd is a renowned racist. I ain't saying Bill Simmons is not. I got the vibes that he was, so I never really fell into anything. And then he from Boston. So I kind of was like, and that's no disrespect to my OG Dart Adams at all, but you know how it is about Boston. So Sanders and his handlers made one big mistake, narrowing their employer search. And this is something that I heard too. I'm not an NFL insider, but this is something that they had actually talked about out loud before. Because you got to recall when Neon Dion was getting drafted, he was the type of nigga to say, hey, what draft pick y'all got? 8? Oh, I'm going to be gone by then, so I don't even need to talk to y'all. Okay. And I can guarantee you, with some teams that Deion Sanders himself is probably pissed off at some point in time in his career doing whatever. That's probably also true. But when Sanders proceeded as if he was dictating to clubs where he was going to go, rather than show how the draft works the other way around. The teams to get to pick you, right? They don't like that. And maybe that's the slave driver mentality that we're talking about. And I will agree that is a factor. Okay. In the lead up to the draft, Pelissero said Sanders made unconventional choices. He skipped the Senior Bowl and then he opted for the East-West Shrine Bowl. Okay. You skipped the big showcase and went to the smaller one. Okay. He didn't practice at this showcase game. His interviews were apparently brazen and shocking to NFL executives. Whatever that may mean to you, there could be some racism built in. I'm seeing where everybody's coming from. Okay. His decisions made NFL executives feel small. The verdict by the entire league was clear. It would not be easy for Sanders, who had been coached by his dad throughout college, playing for the first time for someone who was not his father. In a resurfaced interview, because I'm not going to read what happened with in a resurfaced interview from the NFL Combine, Sanders was defiant. You know who my dad is, he said to reporters, saying that his father was similarly persecuted for being flashy. It should be no question why an NFL franchise should pick me. Sanders added, it's almost normal. Without people hating on us, it's not normal. And so people were trying to make shit about, oh, this is Kaepernick all again, like he's being persecuted. I don't think so, bro. I just think that when you go to the combine and you don't throw the ball and you come at teams like it should be their pleasure to deal with you, who went to Jackson State, and did they win the SWAC? He was named the SWAC Freshman of the Year and second team All SWAC, and won the Jerry Rice Award as the most outstanding freshman in Division I, becoming the first player from an HBCU to win the award. Shout out. And as a sophomore, he was named the SWAC Offensive Player of the Year, okay, and the Deacon Jones Trophy as the nation's top HBCU player. They did not win the SWAC. They did not win the SWAC. Okay. Oh, damn. You go to Colorado and y'all did not win that division either. And then you leave. And I'm not saying the brother's not talented, because I don't know enough to say that he's not. Like, I would love to just see him light it up. Like, show me some highlights. Am I going to show y'all all of his highlights? Probably not. It's a 9-minute video. I don't understand. Was the controversy the order of the picks? The controversy was the fact that Deion Sanders hyped his son to be a top 5 pick. It was widely thought that Shedeur Sanders was going to go number 1. And he didn't go until the 5th round. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't go into the 5th round because he's bad, but I'm saying that's a big drop from one of the top picks to go into the 5th round. You didn't throw at the combine. You sitting here talking shit to your prospective employers, and you really trying to decide where you're going to go. Now, I'm not saying that Eli Manning did not choose where he wanted to go. I'm not saying that that's not the case. I'm just saying that Shedeur Sanders is not Eli Manning. He's probably better than Eli Manning was at that point in time. Did Eli Manning tell everybody kiss his ass, do you know who his daddy and his big brother is? And Shedeur didn't say kiss my ass. His celebration in college was his flashing his diamond-studded watch to the opposing team. That don't scream humility to people who are looking for someone humble. And again, we can get in this conversation about black men are supposed to be humble and you're not allowed to be confident. There's a difference between confident and whatever the fuck this was, in my opinion. In my opinion, I think we ourselves are used to brash people. And so if someone comes across as uber brash, we don't see it as a big deal when it actually kind of is. It kind of is, and it makes sense, because you would never go to a job interview and when they ask you about salary, pull out a stack and then throw all the money on the hiring manager's head and say, I don't need your fucking money. You know who my dad is? And then let's add that to the fact you played at Jackson State where your daddy coached. You played at Colorado where your daddy coached. You never had to compete for a starting spot on a college team at a HBCU and at Colorado. As talented as you are, there are a lot of people who would be wondering when you were actually in an athlete competition for a spot if you can do it. I hope you can, brother. I want him to be the person that everybody else so desperately wants him to be. I don't think he's there yet. And because of that, I don't have the gall to stick my neck out in there and say, oh, they trying to lynch him. This is a modern day lynching. Hey, I think y'all are being a little bit hyperbolic. A little bit too much for Shedeur Sanders. Now, me on the other end of it, I'm a Shiloh fan. Shiloh Sanders is actually who I was rooting for. He didn't get drafted. He did get signed, though. So shout out to Shiloh. But, like, if I was a rich kid, I would want to be more of a Shiloh than a Shedeur. I would want to be a little bit more well-adjusted, a little bit more able to take the piss out of myself and not take myself so seriously. I will give Shedeur the props that, like, when the first round ended, I really liked his demeanor and decor. Not saying I have a thing for people licking their wounds or being publicly humiliated, as some people may take that shit. But it's just like, He showed me poise at that moment in time that I had not seen from him ever, except under pocket. Shiloh is the second. Oh, he's older than Shedeur, but there's Dion Jr. Dion Jr. handles all the camera work on everything. And what I was curious about even pulling up these highlights were like, how many of these plays are to Travis Hunter, who himself is a hell of a fucking player on both sides of the ball. So I'm like, how much of your success can be attributed to the fact that you had a Heisman winner you were throwing to and getting you the ball back, and your daddy the head coach, and you ain't have to compete for Nan job. Not saying that Shedeur would have started if he was complete trash, but he's good. Let's say he's really good. He's really good. Top 5 good, or are you indicative of a weak draft class? So then this happened where the defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons, his son, was walking by somewhere and saw an iPad with Shedeur Sanders' number on it. He took it down, and he and his friends made a prank call to Shedeur and at least one other athlete we know of. It's rumored to be a couple. And they went and called Shedeur and told him, hey, you're going to have to wait, which is what we said in the story just now. They fined the Falcons $250,000, and they fined that coach $100,000. And my friends were like, well, we hope the $250,000 come out that coach's salary. And it probably will. It probably will. You cost your dad a smooth $350,000 in one weekend. Boy, that's coming out your tuition. You ain't going to school. You better get into carpentry school. I don't want that for him. He didn't deserve that. And honestly, he didn't deserve round 5. And there are hella teams that I think needed a quarterback that wanted to prove a point to him that chose another quarterback over him. So I guess in saying that, I am also acknowledging what people are saying is true. And like Tommy has said a couple times tonight, 2 things can be true at the same time. Yes, the NFL has a racist system in which they use to appraise young black, brown, and white men of their physical prowess and ability, and then wager with themselves over who would be the most impact to their organization, right? And if a person doesn't live up to what everybody else thinks they're going to do, they are called a bust, and they struggle to adjust to life after the thing that they have done their entire life is done with them, right? Today, because today is the 30th and this just came out earlier, today I'm thinking about the quarterback that played at FSU. Jordan Travis, if y'all don't remember, played at Florida State during the season that they went undefeated. It's Florida State. I hate them, but either or. They won straight out in the ACC. He gets his leg broken in their last game. And this was in 2023. His last game was against North Alabama. I think that's a game that they shouldn't have played, personally. He broke his left ankle. They played against North Alabama on November 18th, 2023, and it was a hip drop tackle, which is something that's been banned in the NFL. And basically, he spent 17 months trying to rehab his leg. He even got drafted by the Jets with the 171st pick. They basically was like, hey, it's a good investment if he's able to come back. Unfortunately, he was not able to come back. And he's retiring from football in his early 20s, 24 years old. The thing that he has done his entire life and wanted to be good at enough to get drafted into the NFL, that's a lot of people's dreams. It's come and gone, and it's done with him now. And he ain't got a rich daddy that can get him past it, and he ain't got the name to go ahead and transition to anything else quickly. He may do those things. That would be great. But it's what you put yourself at risk for, all right? And it's hard to not see these gentlemen as property at times, because somebody like Jerry Jones will easily remind somebody when they're in contract negotiations, I changed your life and allowed you to play this game, and I can change your life again by giving you this money, but I don't want to, though. You have to prove yourself before I can get this to you. It's a lot that goes on in the professional sports arena that you gotta kind of take a look at. That's why I'm hella interested in that Jordan Peele produced movie that's coming out called Him, because I saw some shots that are very much in line with the things that I'm saying right now. Very, very, very much in line with the things I'm saying right now. And I want to know how deep they want to go with that. It's going to be real good. It's going to be real good, I think. I also been getting Weapons teasers and trailers, and I put it in the Discord. That movie Weapons coming out with Ruth from Ozarks. That shit gonna be fire too. I could tell tonally it's got what I think we looking for. Trippz chooses winners. Y'all should know that about me. I very rarely choose a movie that don't work out. And if Lola here, Lola is going to blame me for watching Taxi Driver. And I'll admit it right now, Lola. It was my idea to watch Taxi Driver. I ain't like it. That's my fault. My bad. You know how a broken clock is right twice a day? I'm wrong twice a day. Let's look at it like that. Weapons looks really good, and they said they got some surprises for y'all. So let's look at it when it drops. But have I missed any stories? I don't want to talk about Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe, you should have fucking known better, bro. And that race play I'm not with, slave play I'm definitely not with. You too grown for that. You're probably somebody's grandfather. And you don't know no better. If you never come back on ESPN, I would hate it for you, but I would also be like, this is a tale we need to tell for the rest of our lives of how you can fuck yourself in the game. I ain't gonna talk about none of the physical shit he had going on, because who am I to judge? A kink is a kink. You do what you want to. That race play shit, not into it. Matter of fact, on top of that, I'm not in the race play. I'm not in the age play. Get that shit out of here. Oh, it won't even let me approve that, Tommy. that one went a step too far. Nah. Just how we was talking about Lauren Olamina and that 50-year-old nigga, and it was a 40-year-old age difference. I definitely think a 30-year-old age difference is something we all should be like, you nasty. I can't tell nobody else what to do. I just know for me, women don't even be seasoned correctly till about 30, 35. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even have no fun with nobody. Like, what is this? This is the boiled chicken that Karen puts on your plate with some potatoes and some mashed and some peas, and y'all drink it down with some milk. I don't want that. I need some Lowry's on my shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. But you know what? The power. Other thing is, some people just gotta learn not to use their powers for evil or for their own self gain. Like, that's where you fuck yourself in the game. You be trying to do too much. You got too much dip on your chip, and now look what happened. But again, I'm not nobody to judge, pass no judgment on nobody. Players fuck up. I have done it myself. So, but nah, that age shit nasty, that race shit nasty. I don't want nothing to do with you, my boy. That's all I gotta say. What stories have I missed? I don't even think I want to talk to a 26-year-old. Because as soon as somebody say, oh, Lil Uzi Vert is the best rapper to ever live, I'm out the conversation. My icebreaker question is, who's your top 5? And if it ain't sounding right, I gotta go. I gotta go. Dio, name one 26-year-old we talk to. Wait, don't do that. I don't talk to no 26-year-olds. I don't know. But I don't talk to them like that anyway. So it ain't even, that's not even what I'm saying. I don't know who Dio talked to. I can't even ask him. I don't really talk to Friday like that. I'd be saying, hey, oh, you saw on Joy. Oh. Day. I was like, who's Day? Not y'all coming asking Joy how old she... Leave that woman alone. Truth is, we don't know. It's teenagers masquerading our age. That's the true thing. So I guess I can't say anything hyperbolic as I don't even talk to no 26-year-olds. I'll say this. If I'm talking to someone and I discover they 26, I'm done talking to someone. You feel me? Thank y'all so much for coming through. It's the end of the month. We talk news tonight. And I know that's not everybody's favorite thing, but I hope that at least we be thinking about some shit. And I know I went on a tangent about a conspiracy theory halfway through. But hey, we all learned a little something, you know, whether that thing is true or not. We don't know. We'll see.